challenge of goal planning, because I have to plan my goals personally, my goals for my business, and goals for my clients, and break it down for them so that they don't, so for example, some of my clients, they have events that cost $500,000, and at the beginning of the year, they have maybe $50,000 in the bank. So how are you going to get that done? So you have to break that down into pieces and also be realistic about it and change your goals for the short term and long term. So my whole life is goal planning, right? And sometimes it's hard and sometimes it's easier, but it's some of the tools that I want to talk about is your mindset of how you get there. So just to talk about success, as success means achieving your goals, so graduating, getting that internship, figuring out what your plan is, all those pieces, that's success. And people think it's linear, like it's just a straight line. You have an idea, you have a goal, you start here, and then you reach it overnight, right? So everybody looks like, especially with social media, everybody looks like an overnight success, when actually it's really complicated, right? You have self-doubt, you have imposter syndrome, you don't think you don't have the resources immediately to do what you want to do, you don't have a plan in place, you don't even know where to start, so it goes like this. But what I hope you take away from this is that if you keep at it and have big goals, your long-term goals, and you break it down, you can get here if you just have to keep at it and stay focused. So what are the keys to goal planning? Has anybody seen that movie Inception? Okay, so I'm telling my age. This movie Inception, oh goodness, I gotta change the reference because I'm aging myself out of the reference. But anyway, I'll bore you with the story of what Inception is. It's this movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, and it's kind of like Matrix, where our current reality is not our reality. You can go into sleep mode and live an alternative life. And when you're in that sleep mode, you have a totem, an object, that if you don't feel it or it doesn't feel right in your hand, you're in sleep mode, right? I gotta change the reference. So basically, the reference is to say you have to have your why. You have to have something that grounds you, right? So you want to be a dentist. Why do you want to be a dentist? What is your purpose of being a dentist? So you can always go back to that, so that as you're making decisions in your life, you can say no to things that have nothing to do with your life. And it also goes to focus. So if you have a goal and there are other things that are pulling you away, whether it could be friends, it could be jobs that are not a right fit, it could be classes that are not a right fit, it could be anything that's going to pull you away from getting and achieving that goal and moving you away from your why. So that's really all the totem is. It's grounding you in your why, grounding you in your purpose. So when you're in that mindset, things that come your way, you're like, that's not a fit. I can say no because it's not my why. And when you don't say no to things that aren't fit, you start losing focus, you start losing time, you start getting dragged into things, and then you get further and further and further away from your goal. But if you know what your why is, it will bring you closer so you can weed and filter things out that aren't going to get you there. Any questions on that? Feel free to, raise your hand, ask questions, and all that. So again, about focus, getting in the mindset of goal planning is not getting distracted by the shiny things, right? So it's not getting distracted by things that suck your time out, like social media. How many people, thank you for coming. So social media, how many people have that tracker on your phone where you can see how much time you spend on social media. One day I looked at it and I spent 8 hours on social media. I don't even know how. Maybe it's on the trend, like it just adds up. That's a whole day of work, of other things that I could have gotten done, even if it wasn't something that was like work, but like self-care, you know, going for a walk, go to the gym, whatever. That's like a time suck. So you have to be honest with yourself. There was a young man that left. We're losing him. Who said, you know, I'm lazy. That's huge. You have to own that. Like, I procrastinate. I'm lazy. And it's not putting yourself down. It's saying, I have a goal. What am I doing that's not getting me to that goal? Right? Where am I falling short that I'm not reaching my, that I'm not accomplishing things that I want to accomplish? And sometimes it's the shiny things, right? Even in, you know, in our careers. I mean, you guys are all still in school and pretty young and just starting out your careers. But when you graduate, you know, you might take a job because of the money, right? And that's valid. I'm not saying it's not. But is that job going to bring you closer to your goal? Like if you take something that, you know, maybe doesn't pay as much, but might get you to your goal faster, but that money becomes the shiny thing, right? So that's what I mean by being distracted about shiny things. Things that are going to suck your time away, things that are going to move you further away from your goals, and things that are going to distract you. Tracking progress is so important. Like figuring out your system of how you're going to measure if you're achieving your goals. So for a lot of you said graduate. So your GPA, meeting with your advisors, getting on a game plan so that you are on track to graduate. So a lot of people, well, at least when I was in school, who struggle with that, you know, I was like, well, did you meet with your advisor? Do you know what's left? Do you know? And they didn't have a grasp of it because they didn't want to face it, right? They didn't want, when you track something and you're like, okay, like using the social media thing, I'm tracking my productivity for the day. If I'm not tracking it, I don't realize I'm wasting time, so I can't address it. And sometimes we don't want to track things because we're disappointed in ourselves that we're not seeing progress. So I'm here to say, give yourself some grace. And even if you're not seeing progress today, if you keep confronting what the issues are, it will get better. But if you don't track your progress or know what those benchmarks are going to be to reach your goal, you'll constantly just be in this limbo of just like, okay, well, things aren't going the way I want, but I don't know why, you know? So tracking your progress is super, super, super important. Avoid procrastination. So there's a few types of procrastinators. Very few people, I don't know many people that don't have some form of procrastination. So I am the type of procrastinator who procrastinates and then I get rewarded for procrastinating because it comes out great. And then it's like, and then I convince myself, oh, well, I just work better under pressure. And that's not true, I'm just procrastinating. And maybe I figured out a hack to figure out the outcomes, but it's still procrastination. Then there's folks who procrastinate because they get really intimidated by a big task. So instead of facing it and tackling it, you do everything else but what you have to do. There are some studies, or not studies, but just some anecdotes that say there is a healthy amount of procrastination. Like, you know, we're so like, computer, you know, on our screens, trying to do things, checking things off. There is some train of thought that says that procrastinating is healthy because it gives your mind time to process things and, you know, kind of troubleshoot in the backlog. You're like going for a walk or, you know, go to a museum or chatting with a friend. Like there's healthy procrastination, but you have to identify when your procrastination is completely preventing you from getting anything done, right? So, and then once you realize, okay, I'm a chronic procrastinator and I'm not achieving anything, then it'll allow you to nip it in the bud and figure out ways to tackle it. Finding your tribe of people. So important, because your tribe of people are the folks that are going to keep you motivated, call you out, like, okay, why are you here at this party when you have to study for your tests, in a couple months? Like, those people who are going to keep you accountable and keep you set on your goals. If you have people in your life that are negative and draining and trying to say, just drama. I mean, and I'm not to say that that you have to surround yourself by people who are angels and perfect and have cheerlead you on. That's not realistic. But the people in your life that are like a total time suck, right? You just have to figure out your boundaries. I'm not of the cancel culture, like cancel that friend, cancel that relative. Unless they're like super toxic, but you have to understand your boundaries, right? Like, don't take that phone call. Yes.
If you drop them for them, you're back. That's everything.
No. There's a reason, season, and a lifetime. I feel like friends are for a reason, a season, and a lifetime.
Yes.
And that's okay, and that's healthy. And at the end of the day, you have things you want to accomplish, and you'll know who's there for a reason, a season, and a lifetime. You're not a bad person at all. And there's extremes to everything. If you're like canceling everybody and you're like, oh, but there's moderation and everything. But some people deserve to be ghosted. But there's also ways to manage those relationships of people who are like taking time sucking you, right? So setting boundaries, putting your accomplishments first, like a lot of times, and I don't, want me to be gender specific, but women do this a lot. They put everybody else's needs first, and then your needs. So, and there are people who will let you, they won't say, oh, weren't you supposed to do that thing, go take care of yourself before you take, people will take whatever they can give. So the point is to have your inner circle of people that you can go to for advice, that you feel comfortable with, that are going to hold you accountable. And then as you grow in your career, that will include mentors that can give you advice, that will include mentors that will, hopefully connect you with jobs, or at least be able to give you, career advice, or be a professional ear and that kind of thing. So finding your tribe and goal setting is really important. So there's 3 easy steps to goal planning. You have to find your rhythm with it, but I feel like it's really not complicated. Define your goal, dream big. Don't, a lot of you said, and it's a great goal, I'm not saying it's not. Okay, so dream big. So a lot of you said, I want to graduate. That is a great goal. But I want you to dream bigger. I want to graduate, and after I graduate, I want to do X. Or I want, in 5 years, I want to be a dentist, servicing underprivileged children in the Bronx. Whatever it is, dream big, not just the immediate, right? I need to graduate, I need to get a job, I need to do the basics. Those are good goals to have, but when you dream big, you're expanding your own horizons so that you can figure out your path to be there. And I cannot tell you enough about the power power visualization, like you talked about imposter syndrome. All my colleagues, and myself included, get imposter syndrome. There's the saying like, it's okay to be scared, but do it anyway, right? That's the only way you're gonna get over it. So yes.
What was it, imposter syndrome?
Imposter syndrome. So imposter syndrome is like when you are, you feel like you don't belong, right? So you are going to a meeting and you feel like everybody's very accomplished and you haven't accomplished enough, and why do I deserve to be here? You deserve to be anywhere you are. Anywhere you're sitting, any table you're at, you deserve to be there because you exist and you have value and you have something to contribute. So, you don't want to, I feel like sometimes people make their goals small because they do have a form of imposter syndrome. They don't think they're worthy of the big goal to dream big. Or they've been taught, like, be realistic, be realistic. You can have big goals and still be realistic, right? So it doesn't mean like, I'm gonna, make $5 million in a year, right? That's crazy. Or maybe not. But, you wanna have goals that aren't small, right? Because when you have small goals, you put yourself in a box. And you don't wanna be in a box. Because what happens when you're in the box, you stay in that box. Yeah, you suffocate in the box. So, and it doesn't have to be like, I think sometimes people get caught up on like the materialness of goals. Again, go back to your why. Why do you have this goal? So, dream big and don't think small. And then be specific. So, going back to the graduation thing, a lot of you guys said, I want to graduate. Be specific. I want to graduate with a 3.0 average and a degree in such and such, so that when I graduate, I can go get an internship in this medical field, right? So when you're saying those words and you're articulating the who, what, when, why of your goal, it helps you visualize how you're going to get there and what that looks like, right? So, what I would want for you guys is not to just be like, okay, I finally got that done, right? I graduated, whatever it takes. All right, we take this class, we get this P, passing grade, we're going to graduate. No, dream big. It has to be like things that are going to move you towards not just the goal of graduating, but the goal of what you want to do after you graduate. So be specific. And then break it down. So you mentioned, had a really good comment about, well, what do you mean? You mean now? You mean next year? You mean a couple months from now? Yeah, you can have a goal and break it down. So you also, I think someone else also mentioned like, you have competing goals, right? Or goals that compete for your time. So you want to do this, but you don't have time to do it. So, now you feel like you're not accomplishing anything because, in order to get this job, you have to graduate and you have to build your resume and you have to, get some experience. So that's the job, or the big goal is your year-long goal or your bigger goal on a bigger timeline, and then you break it down into months, weeks, days. So it's like phases. Life is in phases, right? So right now you all are in your education phase, right? So that's your goal to reach the bigger goal, which is your career. So using you as an example, you want to be in the medical field. So you graduate, you network your way to internships, and then you do the internship. So that's all not going to happen tomorrow, right? It's going to happen over time. So you want to break it down into pieces that you can grasp. And then you want to exercise. Exercise, not like type of. Does anybody know who this guy is? age me. You want to exercise in the sense that you want to constantly be tracking, recording, figuring out what systems work with you. Some people like good old-fashioned pen and paper. Some people put it in Excel. Some people put it in a Word doc, and that may change. Like I have systems based on my mood and how busy I am. So if I'm really busy, I keep it in a spreadsheet. If I'm not that busy that day and I just want to keep track of some of the things I want to do, I literally write it down on paper. You have to figure out what works for you, but get in the habit of constantly exercising, tracking, and planning. And then this is just a bonus. This is 5 things I like to tell any college student because it drives me crazy when I go to a meeting and I see a young person, not drives me crazy, but I see a young person who doesn't have a notebook, right? Like the easiest way to look prepared is if you have a notebook. Like you look like you're taking notes, like you guys are diligently taking notes, you look prepared, you look like you're engaged. So that's easy. I had one of my first internships was at Time Warner, which is way back in the day. And I was going to a meeting, I was about 19, and my boss ran down the hallway. Like I guess he had seen me, and I was kind of walking fast, and he ran after me with a notebook. And he's like, never go into a meeting without a notebook. And that stuck with me my whole life. So I'm going to go into a meeting without a notebook. Come prepared, right? Like look prepared. Come with materials. Come prepared with something. Visualize what it's going to look like, and you'll be set up for success. Prepared, Consider how things are designed. Everything you do should look like you put some thought into it, right? So just to give you an example, this is a simple page, right? There's not a lot on it, but if I showed up with the whole thing looking like this, y'all would be looking like I'm crazy, right? Like, but she's not prepared. She didn't think this through. So just think about the design of things. And then visualize the outcome, right? So how I get over imposter syndrome or down on myself is I visualize success. I visualize myself in that situation, doing well. Everybody's, giving me compliments. Like I just kind of hype myself up before I get there. But if I'm like glooming and glooming, I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna be terrible, I'm gonna psych myself out before I even show up. So visualize yourself in a positive light, and then also visualize scenarios, right? So what does a scenario look like if I'm going on a job interview? What am I wearing? What am I bringing with me, right? What questions might they ask me? Visualize yourself answering those questions, feeling comfortable, all those things. So when you're there, you're like, oh, I've been here. You already feel comfortable because you've visualized it for yourself. Make a plan, which we'll get into goal planning. But make a plan. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a planner, but it is important to plan. Planning is important. This is my favorite quote. Don't just teach your children to read, teach them to question what they read. Teach them to question everything, right? So when in goal planning, that's really important because, a lot of you have been candid about what your barriers are, right? So you're questioning yourself about, well, I'm stuck. Why am I stuck? Oh, it's because I didn't do X, Y, Z. And then, you want to question yourself and you want to stay curious, and all that. So this is the mindset that you have to get into in order to goal plan. Understand your barriers, being able to break it down to 3 easy steps. Understanding what's pulling you away from your goals, and understanding your why, right? So with that being said, I'm going to pass out a worksheet. Actually, yeah, thank you so much. she'll print out some more. So basically, in this worksheet, it will hopefully encourage you to get into the habit of the dream big and then breaking it down. And for a lot of you folks that just said, I want to graduate, I want to find a job, or just like the basic things, I will encourage you to take that a step forward and think about the who, like defining it, the who, what, when, why of it. She'll come back. Right. Yes, everybody take a break. Get some cheese. Everybody just take a little break. Thank you so much. That's fine. I did it for a while. I was in marketing for a while. And then what can I do that will incorporate all the things I like to do, and then I seems to be like that. So like, just kind of get your feet wet, and then you know I did. So I have I graduated my master's from Columbia. So I was like, I don't want to sit in anymore. So I just kind of learned on the job. Like I definitely do continuing education. Like I go to conferences, I try to, do webinars and keep up on all the software and stuff like that, but I didn't really to do it enough more. Oh, okay. Well, I didn't even do it. Oh, that's fine. Do you enjoy it? Like, is it agreeable or? Yeah. Right. Well, you find it and we'll get everybody started on the sheets. So in this exercise, we're going to go through kind of the process. And this is just one way to do it. There's so many systems. You can create your own system. And like I said in the presentation, there's really only 3 steps, right? Like everybody has these systems and books, and really it's just like make a big goal, define it, break it down. That's it. But I do think this spreadsheet or this worksheet helps you kind of visualize that, and then you can find a system that works for you. So you want to write down your big goal. Again, I want to encourage you to dream big and not just, not just say, I want X. I want X because this is where I want to be in 5 years, and this is why, and all that will be as specific as possible. And then you want to give yourself a target date. And then, again, like when we talked about tracking, like how will you know that you reach that goal? And then you'll say, why is the goal important to you? And it goes back to your why, like why. And the strengths that will help you reach that goal, and again, those obstacles that will help you, that will prevent you from reaching the goals. How you overcome those obstacles, and what will be, kind of a good outcome for achieving those goals in your next best steps. And feel free to call me over. Time is it now? It's 4:30. So I'll stop you at 4:45 because feel free to call me over and be like, but how do I do this, and what about this, kind of thing. Yes, it can be absolutely a long-term goal, and then you'll break it down, yeah. And also while you guys are talking, going kind of through the next best steps, you want to kind of put those in mini goals, because there'll be things that are easy to achieve, so you'll feel like, oh, I'm making progress, right? So, you know, passing that class, or finishing that paper, or, you know, calling that mentor that you always want to call, whatever those mini next steps look like. I'm just gonna put a timer. I'm gonna fill it out with you, so I can model what one of my goals is. A goal of mine. So one way you can get over being disappointed is understand that it's right, and things take time. And then taking all of it and breaking it down into pieces so that you can really achieve it along the way instead of like, it's this big thing and then it's like, I'm trying to do this big and I just cheated and now I'm just fine. Yeah, of course. Anybody else have any questions? So I'm gonna read mine, because maybe I see some folks are stuck on the bottom half. Of course, you don't have to fill out every single line, that's not, realistic. But, so one of my main goals right now is to finish our website. I have